everybody, it's Safi and Marco dish out on the movies. And it's just me today, but Marco will probably pipe in like who knows what. But anyway, this is my last ranking video for a while for myself, which I really hate doing them, can you tell? And these are the top 10 movies I watched that were older than the year 2020, because they were the ones that I watched in 2020. My number 10 one was Parasite. I liked this movie because it mixed American culture into a Korean setting. It was a different cultural perspective, or also perhaps similar to our own. Also, this movie wasn't what I expected. I thought it was going to be a horror story about some infectious parasite getting into Korea. Even the first scene, a person spraying a weed or pest kill substance right outside someone's below ground apartment where the windows were open, made me think it was about a foreign contagion. I soon discovered it was about criminals, a naive and stupid rich family, and mental illness that is never taken care of. But I put it at 10 because it would not have been given the Academy. It should not have been given the Academy Award for Best Picture. Why? Because best foreign film Oscars are not the Best Picture awards. What does that mean? Well, there's a category for a Best Foreign Film Oscar-winning film.
In fact, for animated movies, they used to have this. They used to have animated movies mixed in with regular movies, and then they actually created the category Best Animated Picture after that. And so it's like, okay, if there's different categories, if you can't have an animated movie in Best Picture, then you shouldn't be able to have a foreign movie in Best Picture either.
Well, it's just my response is, why is there a foreign film category at all?
Yeah.
And because I don't think it's fair. Was this an exception to the rule? What about this year? Does this mean that all the foreign films that are up for any kind of Oscar, they're eligible for the best film of the year? I mean, to me, it was almost like this. I don't know why. I don't know anything about this director. But it's like they were given an unfair advantage over everybody else. I don't think that's right. Either you have a foreign film Oscar category, or you don't. But if you're not going to, then of course all of them are eligible to be in the Best Picture category. Everybody's welcome. But usually that's what the category was for.
And let's be honest, Safi, it was not good enough to win Best Picture over any of those other movies, like The Irishman, Ford v Ferrari, Joker, all those movies.
Well, probably not. But it was fine for the foreign film category Oscar, though.
Yeah, foreign film.
So that's actually why I put it at 10, just because of that. And also, because that's just what I decided where it should go. Okay, well, should I keep going?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my number 9 one is Child's Play 2019. And the reason why is because I thought it was a different idea on Chucky, about the computer programming of it, and the person who devised the computer program, all that, what happened. The only thing that I really didn't like, that really put a damper on it, and it's probably my personal problem, it would have been different if the boy had had a different mom actress. This person, Aubrey Plaza, is full of herself.
Plaza.
And she's the worst person to play a mother. She just ruined the whole movie for me.
Yeah.
And despite this being a different creative idea, which, Child's Play has made a few movies, and new ideas for an old horror movie are always welcome instead of rehashing old movies. So, that's just my opinion.
Well, I don't think she's that bad because she was kind of an accidental actress to where she was like, I think, the wardrobe designer on Parks and Recreation, and then they thought that she was so funny that they actually wrote a part for her in the show. And so she's not even like an actual actress. Anyways.
Okay, my next one, are we ready?
Yeah.
My next one is 8, House of Long Shadows. I don't have a lot to say about this, but I thought getting several movie greats together from the past horror movies and then throwing in a bunch of twists and turns, and it out came a fairly decent movie, which fell into my top 10 list.
And Julia P's good.
Yeah. Yeah, she was the best one, Marco remembers.
No, she's not.
Well,
Christopher Lee was the best one, but she was probably second.
Yeah, she was second to Christopher. Okay, my next one is number 7, and it's called Split Image. And I had to look it up again because there used to be a comedy puppet show about political figures in the 80s, and I think it was called Splitting Image or something like that. It was filmed in England. Anyway, I get that mixed up just because of the name. But this has nothing to do with politics at all. Not in the general sense what we're used to hearing lately. This was a good movie about cults and deprogramming. And it was also kind of informative and kind of like it was actually playing out what it would be like to get people deprogrammed, and how that isn't, it isn't the greatest thing. I mean, I guess it has to be done, but the way they showed it, it was very abusive and terrible and almost like psychologically damaging, which that's probably like the opposite of what they're trying to achieve. And also about cults and how they work. I mean, to see it, this is a fake movie. It's all dramatized out with actors and lines and everything. But I thought they did a good job just showing both sides of it, the cult part and also the deprogramming. And there were good actors in it, I thought, and good acting, of course.
Peter Fonda was a great villain.
And James Wood, who I don't like that much, but he did an excellent job.
Yeah.
And it gave you a lot to think about, and it was a kind of, a really good movie to watch. So when you can do both of those things, that makes for a good movie. Okay, the next one is Bernie. Bernie is
what number?
Bernie is number 6. I'm on number 6, okay? I thought this was a very influential movie, more for the real life defendant, because this is actually based on a true story. And why? Because the reason why I thought it made such an impact on his case was, and maybe the people who live in the town or something, but I just know about the defendant. I mean, that's a real fact. Was because of Jack Black's performance. He was perfect. In fact, you would probably say that Jack Black was better at being Bernie than Bernie was being Bernie.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. We have a cat named Bernie, so when I say this, he's named after Bernie Sanders, but when I say this, I'm thinking of my cat. So, but anyway, he was really, really, really good. In fact, I think it's the best performance I've ever seen him play. I haven't seen every movie he's made, but he was just so likable, and you just want to do anything you could for him. He could never have shot somebody in the back in cold blood. Well, so like the real guy did, but he did. See, in the movie. But
I thought that he was annoying, and I thought that it was like it was sort of like a spoof type of performance where like he's putting on this like fake persona, and like I like the guy in Bully more, who gets killed, or I guess the people in Bully, because they weren't perfect and they were a lot more like balanced. And with Bernie, you know, you never get to see him angry. You never get to see him upset or anything. He's just like, oh, I'm a very nice guy, and I'm a victim of the horrible system, and you know, he's never like mean or anything. And it's like they did that on purpose to make him look better as a person.
Yeah, and to me, that's kind of irresponsible and also unethical. And anyway, but it actually got this real life Bernie out of prison. This was kind of like that movie with Brad Pitt and the movie about the killings.
Pulp 7-4?
What?
Pelican 7?
What?
Legally True?
Come on, Marco. Anyway, I got one of the Manson's cult members, and I don't remember who it was. They were they had a parole hearing, and they were up to get out of prison, and and it's been years, and you know, I was even thinking, they're old and but then after seeing that movie, and you know, I thought, no way, they can stay and rot in jail. And I think that's what the parole board said too after they saw the movie. So it was kind of like that. But anyway, he did end up going back to prison, and don't ask me about all that. And I don't think we need to talk about that because that's not in the movie or anything. But I'm just telling you that Jack Black was so good that I think he had an impact on his sentence. The guys in real life.
But yet, all the cast and crew actually testified at court for his character.
So that's, to me, that was, I think that's really on the part of the people who did the movie, the director. It was irresponsible.
That's why it's so creepy. It's because you're watching it and you know that, and it's like, ugh. It's like if I made a movie about the Unabomber, and then I testified and got the Unabomber out of prison. It's like, ugh, gross.
Yeah, that's just not right. And, you know, Jack Black may have played Bernie better than Bernie himself, but Jack Black, is not Bernie.
And he's not Earl Stein either.
Yeah, right. That's right. Okay, I'm on number 5 now. And this is called Some Kind of Wonderful. And this was a nice, fun, happy teenage romance type of movie that allowed the director of Pretty in Pink to make up for the horrendous ending he had to insert into that Pink movie that made it false and disingenuous and kind of actually ruined the movie. So,
well, it's funny because in Some Kind of Wonderful, what they did was he also kind of fleshed out the quote-unquote rich character more. And so the girl played by Leah Thompson, she was actually better of a character than the rich guy in Pretty in Pink. And so it was actually kind of like a balanced thing of where I could have been happy if he went either way, because they were both good characters. And so he actually like really improved on like every single thing, like every single aspect of Pretty in Pink he improved on. The soundtrack, the acting, the actors in the movie, and everything.
well, which is really nice that you could be a movie director and actually almost remake the movie, only it's, you know, fashioned somewhat differently, but you could still almost do it over again to the way you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Originally be like. Okay, I'm on number 4 now, and my number 4 is Stepford Wives. And I suggest everybody watch this because it's a fascinating horror movie. And because one thing, it covers when the women's movement came out in the 70s. That's kind of like my era. Um, it was, it's like an historical thing, but it fits into the story perfectly of the way they had it. But it allowed a group of controlling husbands to trade their normal wives, who might be questioning what they do in their lives, to being dutiful robots who do nothing but placate their husbands. And I'm talking about just wanting to play tennis in the middle of the afternoon, or something like that, and just anything that you had a creative brain to want to do, and your husbands didn't want you to do anything but just wait on them and, like I said, placate their every need. But my problem with the movie, and it was a big problem, and I just think it was such a good idea, though, really, at least part of it, but a major part is the kids. I mean, how did they feel about the change? Because they would completely take the wife out, and I guess they'd just murder her. And it was all these men working together. It's like a club. And they had somebody who made these robots, and they made a robot who looked exactly like their wife. But they were just perfect in every way. They even wore similar clothes, and it was really weird. And to me, kids are really smart.
Well,
you know how they say out of the mouths of babes? Well, they're maybe a lot smarter than adults, because they see things maybe that adults don't.
Well, Safi, I actually told you already that they made like 2 or 3 sequels, and then one of them focuses on the kids.
Oh, well, see, I haven't seen any sequels.
I think it's like where the concept is like they turn the teenagers into robots. Like when they become teenagers, they kill them and then turn them into robots too, or some weird thing.
I just don't see that.
This movie, it actually had the opposite effect on me, where it made me like even more like anti-feminist, because like this movie is just so over the top and like trying to make it like, oh, all housewives do is cook and clean all day, and they're so oppressed, and they're living in this patriarchal prison of cooking and cleaning, and oh no. And it's like, it's like propaganda almost, but it's like, it's still a really great horror movie, even though it's propaganda.
You may be right in a way, but I think they had to exaggerate it like that in order to
make it a horror movie.
Make it horror.
Yeah, but it's
also was a new, back then it was the new thing, and when that girl was saying all this stuff about women's liberation, it is kind of funny because it was back then, and that's how people talked.
It also it was really a warning against feminism, because feminism is evil. And it's basically the opposite of the men in this movie. It's the polar opposite. And so it sort of showed you that the main female character, she was sort of like the female equivalent of the main villain. And so that's why they didn't have to give the main villain any development as a character at all, because you already saw him through her, because she was already this evil type of cult leader. She's trying to get all the women to join in this group, like, let's sit around and talk about our sex lives with each other, like that. and so she's basically like his equal. And so it really showed that a warning of what feminism would turn into.
Well,
evil movement.
I don't want to say I agree with all that. Well,
it's true.
About how evil feminism is.
It is.
Marco does not like it when it goes over the top.
No, I don't like it at all.
It's been like over the top lately. And like I have said in other things, you can't be too far right, you can't be too far left. And this thing with the feminism where they've toppled them over, all the norms, and just completely changed girls into boys and boys into girls, and everything's just like on a regular story, a story that's been around for 100 years or something. And I don't want to cause any problem and cause a big argument. And it's it's just like people don't like things that are too way over the top. And when it doesn't even turn out right, if you change things that much,
well, I don't like feminism. Period, Safi.
Well, Marco, that's just ridiculous. And I have to excuse him. He's a 22-year-old man, and
I hate feminism.
He doesn't have a lot of life experience.
And I hate feminism, and I hate feminists.
Well, I'm not gonna apologize for him, but I really doesn't have enough experience to know everything.
And this movie shows exactly why you should hate feminists too.
Well, you shouldn't turn him to kill feminists and turn them into robots to please some man.
Well, it shows the opposites. It shows the both sides.
Yes, that's right.
The town is the evil men's side, the extreme men's side, and then the main woman is the extreme women's side.
That's right. See, they're both extremes,
so
like I've said.
It shows how both are really evil.
And people aren't like that for the most part. And I mean, in any way, on anything, conservative, liberal, feminist, whatever. Not everybody is extreme. I think people like to veer toward the middle and have a little bit of character of each thing maybe into them. Maybe they are conservative about one thing, but they're liberal about something else, So I don't want to go into politics. Please help me. I just want to finish my list because I hate doing this. Okay, I'm on number 3 now. It's Lost Boys. And I enjoyed this movie a lot. I heard about it for years, and I just had never seen it. I thought it was fun, scary, interesting vampire movie with a couple of big twists at the end. I mean, major twist. And actually, one of them I really wasn't expecting, but I suspected something, but it still was pretty big. And then the other one was, it was I would have expected that more. But anyway, the only thing I didn't like was the older brother's behavior during the first part of the movie. He turned into some kind of like zombie like boy who was addicted to this girl, and he was like, he'd look at her and he'd like fall into a trance.
The girl was not special.
And she wasn't even a vampire. He was just like, had googly eyes.
And isn't this movie rated R?
I don't know.
Well, for some reason, she never gets nude. And it's like, this movie's rated R, and it's like, why is it even rated R?
Well, that's back in. It was rated R back then, so it was different. Because it wasn't this in the 80s?
Yeah.
So
1985.
Yeah, well, there you go.
But
it's just
the thing
it's a different frame of mind.
But then you have Fright Night. Fright Night's a million times better. Or wait. This came after Fright Night because this ripped off Fright Night. But in, Fright Night, you had the main girl, and nobody wanted to see her naked. And so...
Well, the thing is, I did not like his behavior. I thought it was queer. And then it was him, and he had a little brother. His little brother was more sensible and grown up
than him. Yeah.
Which I'm not talking about a year younger. I'm talking about significant, maybe 5 or 6 years younger. And this is that poor boy who had terrible trouble in his real life, and I think he committed suicide, or he was a drug addict, and he died of an addiction problem or something. But anyway, another thing I didn't like was Diane Wiest, who was in the Woody Allen movies, and she was really good. In fact, I think she got an Oscar, but in this movie, she was a total flake.
Wait
and
a
horrible mother.
Is her name Diane West?
No, it's W-I-E.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever.
I was going to make fun of you. Like, you're saying Diane West is Diane Wiest or
something?
No,
that's what I've heard them call her.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And anyway, because she's been around for a while, but she did great in a Woody Allen movie. She was perfect. I remember seeing her I saw the movie she was in. I think she got the Oscar for. I don't remember which one. But anyway, this movie, she was awful. And I talked about that Chucky movie, which had Aubrey in it, and I did not like her. She wrecked the movie for me. Well, this woman,
she's way better than Aubrey Plaza.
Well, of course she was. She's won an Oscar. Aubrey Plaza has not. Anyway.
God, Safi.
Anyway, this one, but in this movie, I couldn't stand her. She was a flake. She's not, and she had something really bad right under her nose, and she couldn't even see it.
A booger.
No, Marco. But anyway, I didn't care for her at all. And the kid, the teenage boy, he might as well just turn into a vampire.
Michael. Don't you remember the vampire saying, Michael? Michael?
Yeah. Okay.
Join us!
Okay. I'm on number 2 now. Number 2 is Wild Things. This movie, I saw it and I just, I had to shake my head and try to get back to normal because it took so many twists and turns. In fact, I think this movie, for me, out of every single movie I've ever watched, it took twists and turns to a new level. It was like a roller coaster, but instead of going up and down, it flipped around in circles constantly, even to the very end. It was unbelievable. And you have to watch it because of all the twists. It's just one twist, then another one comes up all of a sudden, then another one, and another one, and another one. And I couldn't believe it, and I still think I turn back to it and thinking about it, and I mean, it's almost like that kind of thing would, if I rode a ride like that, I'd be puking all over the place. What? I couldn't do it, but this, I mean, it's amazing. I thought very creative to, because I've never seen a movie like this. Of course I've seen things with a twist, or like in the last one, a couple of twists. But this movie had about, I don't know, 10, 12, I don't know. It just went on, and the acting was good too, of course. To pull these twists off, you had to have really good acting. So I would really recommend that. In fact, it's probably in a big tie with my number 1, which is Road Games. This is a horror movie that builds to a great ending, a fun ending. I liked it. And it takes place in Australia, of all places. It was enjoyable, interesting, and fun. And that's the end of my top 10, and we are going to be ready to do
new things. Safi.
We are going to do review a bunch of movies, and I won't say what bunch means, with Richard Thomas.
It's going to be called Richard Thomas Week.
Yeah. And I don't think he has been the recipient of being given a week anywhere. So we're going to give him a week because he's made a lot of movies. And if you remember him from the Waltons, he was a very good actor, but he was young and kind of a dip. I don't know. I didn't care for him, but that was a good show, and they had good acting and good story.
Let's not forget, Safi. He is way better than Vincent Price.
I don't know about that. I don't think anybody could be better than Vincent Price just because Vincent Price was Vincent Price.
He was in trash movies.
And nobody else can be Vincent Price.
He did
really.
He did a good job in a bunch of trash movies.
Well, whatever.
Richard Thomas did a great job in a lot of okay or good movies.
And we're not going to be doing the Waltons, by the way, at all. We are going to do movies that he's been in. And if anybody pays attention, he has a very distinctive voice. So he is currently doing commercials today on TV. In fact, I just heard him maybe last week. He does these luxury car commercials. So he must be making a fortune just doing commercial work. That's the thing. If you have a very interesting voice, like the guy who has a cowboy voice, and I can't think of what his name is. He did have black hair and a real thick mustache. He has a distinctive voice, too. They can both do commercials till the day they die.
Safi, do your best Richard Thomas impression.
No, I can't do any Richard Thomas.
Do your best.
No, I don't. I wouldn't know what to do.
I don't.
But you'll be listening to our reviews. You'll be listening to our reviews about of his movies. And
I just want to talk, Laura.
Okay. Anyway, Marco's doing. I don't know what the name of the movie was. We just happened to watch it, and it was about this place in California that they've been talking about in these Fear Street movies.
The number 26 sandwich is their best sandwich, Laura.
It was based on a true story about a guy who went crazy and went shooting up a company because he got rejected by a girl.
I want a Diet Coke with lots of ice because I like to chew up ice.
Okay, that's enough.
Pew, pew, pew.
So anyway, that's not funny, but...
That's when he was like, remember when he shot the computer? He was like, pew, pew, pew. And he's like, okay, I'm done shooting the computer now. And he just walks away.
He killed people and he injured them for life. So
We're
I don't
joking
think
about the movie, though, not the real incident.
Right. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing next. I don't know what the first one's going to be. Do you know, Marco?
Oh yeah, it's going to be Big and Hairy.
Okay. Which sounds weird.
It's the movie about Bigfoot joining a basketball team or something. See, what I did was I picked 3 movies, and then I went and I picked a bunch of random ones that he did, and I put them in a wheel, and I spun the wheel and picked 2 random ones. And that was one of the random ones.
All right, well, so anyway, if you like this video, press the like button. And if you like, subscribe. We really appreciate it a lot.
What else should they do?
And if you, I told them if they want.
What else, though?
They make a comment. If you have any comments about what I said, I don't want anybody to get hung up over Marco's feminism thing, okay? Because it's not worth it. He's just, he's a kid, and he has his opinions, and he has a right to his opinions.
Feminists act like kids, Safi.
Okay, please. So anyway, no more comments about that. But anyway, if you have any comments at all about anything I said, or you have, what are your favorite movies, old movies that you've seen lately? Have you watched any?
Finish your Milky Way.
And if you have a request that you would like for us to watch, and we'll be happy to entertain the request and see what we can do.
No, finish your Milky Way, Safi. You've got a half-eaten Milky Way there.
I went to do laundry, and while I was writing these out, which my Parasite movie review part of it didn't flesh out as nicely as it should have, I got a Milky Way and ate half of it. I don't have to worry about gaining any weight.
Eat the other half, Safi. Eat the Milky Way.
I don't gain any weight.
Eat the Milky Way.
So, luckily for me...
Everyone wants to see you eat the Milky Way.
No. Okay.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.